name is Sarah. This is a trauma-informed, gentle Hatha yoga class. It'll be approximately an hour, and it will be useful in grounding and centering. It will help maybe calm some anxiety, re-regulate our bodies both emotionally, mentally, and physically. I encourage you to take your time as we move through the postures. Notice what's going on in your body. Be present with it in a self-compassionate and non-judgmental way. There's really no wrong way to do yoga. I'll be offering some options when it's necessary, when you might need modifications. And if anything doesn't work for you, I encourage you just to not do it. Skip that part and we'll come back to the next part. This is a practice of choice, more than anything else. So feel free to take breaks, to revisit parts that you want to, or to stop in the middle and not finish it. Whatever works best for you. Again, there's no wrong way to do this yoga. I do encourage you that if you have need of medical attention, the UHS nurse advice line is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if anything emotionally comes up that you need immediate assistance with, the CMHC crisis line is also open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Those two numbers are listed on the page where this video is posted. So there is always someone to talk to about what's going on with you. We want to hear from you if you need any help. I encourage you also to make sure that you have a private, quiet space to practice in for about the next hour or so. It'll be best if you can really be fully in your body and be able to relax as needed. As far as props go, you don't need anything. You'll be fine if you have no props. If you do have access to a strap or a belt or some kind of sash, any of those things might be helpful just to kind of lengthen our limbs when we need them. And I find that it's nice to sit up on a blanket or a cushion or a pillow for this, especially for this first couple parts where we're sitting on the ground. It's nice if you can have your hip bones at the same level as or a little bit higher than your knees. It helps with stability in that way. So with all of those preliminaries out of the way, I invite you to take a nice seat. You can either cross your legs at any angle. You could be on a chair if chair sitting is more comfortable for you. Or if it works better for you to sit back on your heels with both the heels underneath you, you can do that as well. The goal for this seat is that you can be able to sit up tall through the crown of your head, lengthen through your spine without working too hard. Your core muscles may be a little bit engaged, but there shouldn't be any aching or kind of holding yourself up. It should be relatively effortless, relatively. And then for our centering, you can either close your eyes or soften your gaze if you'd like. And you can choose here, if you'd like more grounding, leave your palms down on your thighs or your knees. If you want a little bit more energizing, since there will be a lot of grounding in this practice, you can turn your palms up to the sky. If you choose one of those and decide that you want to switch, feel free. We'll be here for just a couple moments to center. Allow your attention to shift to your inner life. Follow your inhale inward and notice what you find inside. Sensations, emotions, or thoughts. Without judgment, allow whatever is to just be. And notice what you're bringing to your mat. shift your attention again to focus on your breath. Again, taking the time to notice the quality of your breath right now. It may be shallow or deep, quick or slow. Again, these are all just messages about how you're doing physically, emotionally, and mentally. So notice, gather that information. It's a good way to start taking care of yourself, to know where you're at, essentially. And then shift your attention again to your exhale. And with every breath out, allow the weight of your pelvis to sink down into your seat. Allow the parts of you that are touching the ground, your mat or a prop, to grow heavier. Lean into where you're touching the support that comes up underneath you to hold you. Staying heavy through the pelvis. Inhale and reach up through the crown of your head and grow tall from tailbone to the crown of your head. And when you exhale, reroot. On your next inhale, grow broad from side to side through your rib cage. Widen. And when you exhale, reroot. On your next inhale, grow deeper from front to back. Let your rib cage make lots of space for your breath. And when you exhale, reroot. Like that, take 3 more rounds of breath. Grounding on your exhale and expanding on your inhale. One more. Gently open your eyes, come back into the room visually. I have some notes with me that I'm going to be checking just to make sure I stay on track. Let's start with your hands on your knees. If you've been sitting cross-legged this whole time, you might want to lean back and switch the cross of your legs. It might feel a little bit weird, but it might even some stuff out too. Now with your hands on your knees, if you'd like, round through your spine on your exhale. Lean back, take your chin to your chest. Everything I offer is an offering. Inhale, we'll bring your chest forward, draw your shoulders back, lean forward. Exhale, round through your spine. You can choose to do or not do anything, any of these exercises. Inhale, chest forward, shoulders back, lean forward, elbows bend. 3 more like this. Exhale, round, chin to your chest. Inhale, expand forward, open the front of your body. Exhale, round. This is cat pose variation. Inhale, looks forwards, mobilizing the spine. Let your attention rest on how your vertebrae move. Last time forward. And find your way back to center. Now take your right hand to your left knee. Bring your left hand to maybe your sacrum or the floor behind you. Inhale, grow tall through the crown of your head. And exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, reach up through the length of your spine. Exhale, gently pull with your right hand to deepen your twist. 2 more breaths here, growing longer on the inhale and gently deepening the twist on the exhale. Re-anchor through your right hip. Grow tall on the inhale. Look over your left shoulder on the exhale. Inhale back to center. Hands on your knees. Notice what's happening and feeling through your torso. And then second side, take your left hand to your right knee. Right hand can go to your low back or your sacrum or the floor behind you, or your blanket if you're sitting up on something. Inhale, reach up through the crown of your head, and exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, gently pull with your left hand to deepen the twist. 2 more breaths here. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, twist. Last one, inhale, tall. Exhale, look over your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Take your left palm to the floor on this left side of your hips. Take your right arm up by your ear. Turn your right palm towards the left, and then crescent so that your palm points towards the floor. Bend your left elbow. Press your left hand down and away from you to take your right ribs in the opposite direction. Anchor down through your right hip and reach through your right fingertips for a nice long side body stretch. And keep a lot of tension in this side body area all the way up into the armpits. Inhale, come back up to center. They don't often get air, as it were. Take your right palm to the floor on the right side of your hips. Lift your left arm up by your ear. Turn your left palm towards the right, and then crescent towards your right, so that your palm points towards the floor. Press your right hand down and away from you to take your left ribs in the opposite direction. Breathe into that side body, anchor down through your left hip, reach through your left fingertips. Beautiful. Inhale, come back up. Now we're gonna move a little bit to the floor to get our hips moving some. So if you're sitting up on something, move that out of the way. I'm gonna turn on my mat in hopes that y'all can see me better. Bring your feet to the mat and then take them wide so that they're your pinky toes are on the outer edges of your mat. And then for this first part, you can lean back, if you're comfortable with it, on your elbows. If that doesn't really work for you, you can also have your hands behind you. Whatever works, really. Often we do this a lot, all the way lying down flat, but I find it's easier to see if you don't lie all the way down. And then with your knees bent and your feet wide, begin to windshield wiper your legs from side to side. You can go at any pace that works for you. You can move with your breath. And here, let your attention rest on the place where your thigh bone fits into your pelvis. Your femur bone head sits in the socket of your hips. On both legs, it's being rotated and mobilized. When we can get the femur bone to sit back in the pelvis a little bit more, it can be very calming for the nervous system. And just mobilizing and relaxing a little bit like this is useful in that realm. And when you're ready, come back up to center. Let your knees fall in on each other with your feet still wide. This, especially if you're available to lie down on your back, this broadens the back of your pelvis, which is also grounding. This is constructive rest position. I find it a really nice position to take breaks in during the day if you just have a couple minutes and need to decompress a little bit. Now, take your feet hip width distance and then bring both feet up off the floor and put one hand on each knee. And we're lying down here, so if you need to sit up and watch what I'm doing and then rewind and let me talk you through it once you know what it is. But I think that I can also just talk you through it. Your choice, you have full control of this. From here, bring both knees in towards your chest as you exhale. And then inhale and let your knees come away from you as far as they'll go with your hands still on your knees. And then exhale, knees in, inhale, knees out. Now, as we move out this time, we're going to shift into circles. So at the very farthest out part you have, then shift to the side. And as you come in, exhaling, you can go around in a circle with both knees. Stay with your breath. Inhale away from you. Exhale around to the side and back to your chest. And then switch your circles so they're going the other way. Inhaling away from you. Exhale to the other side and back towards you. Again, just mobilizing the hips, circling the hip bone, the femur bone in the hip socket. Last circle here. And back to center. Feet on the ground. Again, feet wide, knees together, constructive rest. Allow your attention to scan your hips, pelvis, legs. There's a little bit more movement of energy in there maybe. Might be nice to just notice. And bring your feet back together. Roll to one side so that you're in a fetus position. And then use your hands to press yourself up. Now, find your way to sitting on your heels. This is called Vajrasana, hero's pose. If this isn't comfortable with your feet flat, you can curl your toes under. And if neither of those really work for you, you can sit up on a block or a cushion between your feet. But we won't be actually sitting upright for very long. From here, I want you to bring your hands, if you'd like, to the floor in front of you, and then keep your hips heavy on your heels as you walk your hands out in front of you. Keep looking forward so that you can get as much length through your arms as possible before then lowering your forehead and nose to the mat. This is child's pose. This is one version of child's pose. Breathe into your back body, the back of your ribs, your kidney band, your low back, even down to your sacrum and tailbone. Breathe. If you'd like, you can bring your arms back by your feet. And let your shoulders come forward. Bring your hands to the mat on either side of your knees and help your body come up. Now, take your knees a little bit wider and walk your hands out. This is another version of child's pose where you have space between your legs for your torso to come a little bit closer to the ground. So feel how that might feel different. Forehead and nose on the mat, if they reach. If they don't reach, there's lots of options. You can have your hips a little bit higher. Again, you can have your toes curled under. You can just not get all the way to the ground with your face, or if there's something that you can put under your forehead, that's an option too. Now lift your head and walk both hands over to your right. You may have to lift your belly, put it on your thigh, and then lower your forehead. Reach back through your left hip and stretch your side body, your left side body. And then lift your head again, walk back to center and all the way to the other side. Lift your belly, put it down on your thigh. Anchor back down through your right hip onto your right heel until you get a nice long stretch from your right hip through your right pinky finger. Lift your head and come back to center. Find your way up to standing. Whatever way works for you, go slowly and gently, noticing what happens when you shift. Tadasana, mountain pose, and your feet come under your hips. Not your outer hips, but right under your hip bones. So another way you might measure that is kind of two fists. It's a general guideline. Your arms by your sides, your palms can face in or forward. Lift your chin so that it's parallel to the ground and then slide it back so that your ears are over your shoulders. Again, come back to that grounding that we worked with at the beginning, reaching particularly from the center of your pelvis down through the bones of both legs, the muscles of both legs, to be rooted into the ground. So you can feel the connection from your core to the core of the earth. Not only are you filled with the strength of a mountain, but you have the support of the very earth that made mountains beneath you. You're not separate. Let's do a little just moving with the breath here. So from your mountain pose, turn your palms towards the front and even out a little bit. Inhale, arms up, palms up. Maybe look up if your neck is okay with it. And then exhale, turn your palms out to the side and lower all the way down. Let your movement follow in the wake of your breath. Arms up, look up, inhale. Exhale, palms out, arms float down. Two more like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Shift your weight into your right foot. Come up on the ball of your left foot. Anchor down through all four corners of your right foot, and especially reach down from your inner thigh all the way down through the center of your right foot and again to the core of the earth. From your hip, turn your left leg out to the side. Try to keep your pelvis still pointed forward as your knee comes out to the side. And then from here, your hands on your hips, you can either kickstand your heel on your ankle, shift your foot up to your inner shin, or grab hold of that ankle and put your foot on the inside of your right inner thigh. Wherever your foot lands, press your foot and your leg into each other. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and press them together as well. There you find a midline that you've made through the center of your body. Keep pressing down through your foot to the center of the earth and follow that midline with your hands as you reach up, grow your branches. This is tree pose. Release your hands, release your foot. This is a balancing pose, so it's really good for helping focus the mind. If you have some trouble with balance and or focusing your gaze on one thing in front of you that's not moving will be helpful for both physical and mental focus. So second side, let's shift your weight into your left foot. Come up on the ball of your right foot. Take a moment to really ground through that standing leg. Reach down through all the parts of your foot that are touching the ground and reach from your leg all the way down through your foot to the core of the earth. Then from the hip, turn your right leg out to the side, and with your hands on your hips, kickstand your heel at your ankle, or bring your foot to your inner shin, or if you have the flexibility and the balance and you want to, bring your foot up into your inner thigh. As long as you're not pressing on your knee with your foot, anywhere else on your leg but your knee. You want to protect that. Now reach down through your standing leg. Press your foot and your leg towards each other. Bring your hands together in front of your heart center and press your hands together. Focus your gaze on something that's not moving and follow that midline, the line of energy that runs through the center of you, up to the sky, and down to the center of the earth. And release your tree limb arms and your root legs. Take a moment here, either close your eyes or soften your gaze if you'd like. Bring your attention inward again. Notice sensations, thoughts, feelings, what's going on in your body, your emotional body, your physical body. How has it shifted? Has it shifted? Again, gathering information just to know. Now, take your feet wide on your mat, wide ways, so that you have sticky mat under both feet. We're gonna go towards Warrior Two pose, Virabhadrasana 2. How wide you go with your feet is entirely up to you. The wider you go, the more hip opening is required and is offered. The amount of stability that you have and want also factors into it. So you can kind of play with that. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees. Line your front heel up with the center of your back arch. Inhale, lift your arms and your heart. Exhale, bend your front knee so that your knee comes over your ankle. Watch that your knee doesn't tip in towards the inside of your leg. It should line up with your second toe. And then full pose, you look out over your right fingertips. This is it's a warrior pose. It's a strength building pose. And you can feel the strength in your legs, the potential and flexibility in your hips, and then the lift in your heart and your mind that come from that. Relax your hands, straighten your front leg, turn your right toes in and turn your left toes out. And do the second side. Let your front heel line up with the center of your back arch. Make sure that your left toes are pointing at the short end of your mat and your right toes are pointing at the long end of your mat. They're kind of 90 degrees. Squeeze your legs strong. Inhale, lift your arms, lift your heart. Exhale, bend your front knee so your knee lands not in front of your ankle or behind it, but right over it, and not inside or outside your ankle, but lined up with your second toe. Arms are out at a T, and look over your left fingertips. If any part of this is too much, you can always relax your arms. You can come out of the bend a little bit, or you can just not hold it as long. One more breath here, really leaning into the strength that you feel in your body right now. And then straighten your front leg, rest your arms, turn your toes in, and step your feet together. Now we'll do some shoulder stretches. Try to open up the front of the chest and the back of the chest a little bit, and let you feel a little more mobility in your upper body. The first is eagle arms. There are a couple different versions of this. We start by putting your left elbow on top of your right, or aiming that direction. It really depends on proportions of a bunch of different parts of body parts. So crossing your arms wherever they cross. And then the first version of this is just to reach your hands to your shoulders. They may or may not get very far, but kind of lengthening so that you're lengthening across the breadth of your back. If this is comfortable for you and you want a little bit more, turn both forearms up and try to bring the backs of your hands together. If you want a little bit more than that, you can maybe try to bring your palms together. Wherever your arms are, out of those three versions, take your elbows forward and down until you feel a stretch between your shoulder blades. Breathe into that back body. And release your arms. And we'll do that again with the other arm on top. So cross your arms at the elbow or thereabouts, and then either grab opposite shoulders or bring your forearms up so the backs of your hands touch, or palms of your hands. This is the full expression of eagle pose. It's pretty extreme. It can feel good, but if it doesn't feel good, then it's not really that helpful. Wherever your hands are, take your elbows forward and down until you get a stretch between your shoulder blades. And take your breath there. It's a form of pranayama, of breath work, to use your breath in a direction to help your body open up a little bit. So this is part of what we're doing here. Breathe into that space across the back of your ribs, between your shoulder blades, even up to the base of your neck. One more breath there. have a scarf or a strap of some sort, grab it and put it on your right shoulder. I'm going to be turning back and forth so that you can see what's happening behind me, but you can just stay right where you are. Bring your left arm up by your ear, and then bend your elbow and bring it back close to between your shoulder blades. If it doesn't really reach that far, that's fine. Just bend your elbow so your hand's behind your head. Take your right hand to the point of your left elbow and encourage that elbow towards the center line of your body, towards that same midline we were talking about. That may be plenty for you, and you can just stay right here. If you'd like a little bit more, keep your left elbow where it is and take your right hand out to the side. Turn your thumb down, palm back, and then wiggle that hand up behind you, maybe to reach fingertips. If you don't reach fingertips, it's just because you're human, but luckily you have a strap right here ready for you to make your arms longer. So grab two ends of the strap and then pull your elbows in opposite directions. So your left elbow reaches up and your right elbow reaches down. And you breathe. To release, carefully, release the strap with your right hand and extend that arm out by your side. Then from the shoulder, rotate that arm so it's palm up. Then bring that by your ear, bring your left arm up and release both sides. Might be interesting to notice any differences from one side to the other here. And then switch sides. Second side, inhale your right arm up with your right palm facing towards the left, towards the center line. Then bend your right elbow and bring your hand more or less to your upper back. Take your left palm to the point of your right elbow and encourage it gently, with a lot of love, towards the center line of your body. Stay here. If you're getting a tricep stretch and you're feeling very able to be in your body, this is a good place. If you want more, take your left hand out to the side, turn thumb down, palm back, and then wiggle that hand up behind your rib cage. Grab two ends of the strap and pull your elbows in opposite directions. You might press back with your head into your upper arm, your forearm rather. Breathe. Release the strap with your left hand. Rotate at the shoulder to bring your palm face up, and then reach that arm by your ear. Take your other arm up and release both arms. One more like that. There are lots of options for this as well. You can take your strap and hold it behind you, like outer hips, thumbs out, palms forward. The closer you can get your hands, the more you'll be stretching across the front of your chest. If you have a little bit more flexibility in your hands, you can bring your interlace your fingers all the way up to the webbing, palms facing each other behind your low back. If neither of those seem particularly enticing, you can put your hands on your hips and squeeze your elbows back. Wherever your hands are, on the strap, interlaced, or on your hips, press down with your hands on your pelvis to root again down through your pelvis, through the center of the earth. And with elbows bent, draw your elbows back towards each other. You'll notice this gives you space across the front of your chest. Lift your heart center into that space. Keep your chin parallel with the ground instead of opening up through the throat too much, so that the stretch is all from the bottom of your belly to your sternum and from armpit to armpit across the front. And breathe. Again, you can breathe into that front of your chest cavity. Stretch some of the muscles between your ribs, intercostals. And release. Now we're going to come back to seated. And I'm going to come back to my blanket. If you have a blanket or a cushion to sit on, that'd be great. If not, you can still do all these things. If you're not able to bring your hips up a little bit higher, you may just need to have your heels out farther from you in this next pose, which is Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of your feet together. Bring your fingertips, maybe I should turn a little bit so you can see. Bring your fingertips to the floor behind you with your fingers pointing back behind you. And just like we just did, with elbows bent, draw your elbows towards each other behind you and let that support with your shoulder blades lift your heart center. Then press your feet in towards each other and draw from your outer knees up into your outer hips to encourage your knees down closer to the ground. So rather than pushing on our knees with our hands, using the muscles of our outer hips to widen our knees apart and closer to the ground. And release that. Extend your legs out in front of you. Just stay facing this way. Now, again, bring your soles of your feet together, but have your legs way out farther from your body so that you make more of a diamond shape with your legs. Your toes might not actually touch even. It's bigger. And instead of having a long front body and an extended back body, we're gonna round through the spine, try to reach your forehead towards your heels. So lean over, reaching your hands down towards your feet. And here, round as much through your spine as you can. Allow that whole stretch, the length of your rib cage, your low back, your pelvis. Even your chin can come to your chest and round through your neck. Again, fingertips to the floor. Inhale and come up. Extend your legs out in front. Lean to your right and bend both knees so that your feet come to the left side of your body. Ideally, or maybe eventually, or maybe not, your left shin and ankle, front of the ankle, go to the arch of your right foot. Your knees are on the ground, more or less pointing out in front of you. And your right hip is on the ground, but your left hip is probably not, may not be. From here, inhale, grow tall. Exhale, take your left hand to your right knee and your right hand to the floor or your cushion behind you and twist. Just like we did at the beginning, lengthen through your spine on the inhale. Exhale and deepen the twist. This is Bharadvajasana, named after a sage. Inhale and come back to center. Extend your legs out in front. Second side, lean to your left. Take both feet to the right. Let your right ankle maybe rest in the arch of your left foot. Take your knees apart enough that they can both be on the ground. Reach up tall through the crown of your head. Take your right hand to your left knee, left hand to the floor behind you. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, twist. You may notice that this twist feels a little different than the twists that we did at the very beginning of class. You may not. It's always just good information to notice. Inhale and come back to center. From here, I want to share a little pranayama, a little breathing exercise with you. It's called Nadi Shodhana. It allows us to move breath from nostril to nostril, which helps equalize or stabilize the two sides of the body and the brain. So find a seat that feels comfortable to you. After this, we're going to do one more pose lying down, and then we'll have Shavasana, the resting pose, and then we'll be done for today, or for this practice. So once you've found your comfortable seat, bring your right hand up and fold down the last three fingers. So middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Curl into the, no, that's not right. This way. Pointer finger and middle finger bend down. You're going to use your thumb on your right nostril and your ring finger on your left nostril. And the pattern is that we start with an inhale on the right nostril. So you'll cover your left nostril with your ring finger. Breathe in. Pause in the middle. And then breathe out your left nostril, covering with your thumb the right nostril. Then breathe in your left nostril again. Cover your left nostril with your ring finger and breathe out your right nostril. In through the right. Switch and hold. Out through the left. In through the left. Switch. Out through the right. Let's do 3 more rounds. In through the right. Switch. Out through the left. In through the left. Switch. Out through the right. 2 more rounds. In through the right. Switch. Out through the left. In through the left. Switch. Out through the right. Last round. In, right. Out, left. In, left. Out, right. Release your palm in your hand and come back to normal breathing. And when you're ready, find our way back to constructive rest pose. We visited this earlier in the session. Lying down on your back, bend your knees, put your feet on the mat. Take your feet wide so that your pinky toes are on the outer edges of your mat, and let your knees rest in towards each other. They may or may not actually touch, but having them going in that direction will be good. Allow your hands to rest anywhere on your torso that feels comfortable and comforting. And begin letting go of the work in your body. Let your bones get heavy. Relax towards the earth with gravity. This is sometimes a better resting position for some people if you have low back pain at all. So you're welcome to stay here for our final resting pose. Or if you want the more traditional Shavasana shape, extend your legs out long, let your toes fall out to the side. I find that a weight on the tops of my thighs is often very grounding. Or you can, of course, take a blanket all the way open and cover yourself entirely if you'd like. Palms by your sides. And this is the moment to cease all effort. Allow your outer shoulders to get heavy. You can cover your eyes if you want some more darkness, or just turn off the lights. Allow the skin on your brow to smooth. Release the inner corners of your eyes. Let your teeth part slightly as your jaw relaxes. And release the roots of your thumbs. Let yourself rest on the earth. We'll be here for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'll stay with you. I'll let you know when that time has passed. As much as you can, allow yourself to continue to relax and let go of tension. gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your wrists and your ankles. And turn your head from side to side. And extend your arms overhead. And give yourself a nice long full body stretch. And then carefully bend your knees. And roll to one side. Use your hands to press yourself up to a seat. And find any comfortable seat. I'll stay here for just maybe a full minute, maybe not that long. But do take a moment, eyes open or closed or gaze softened, to turn your attention inward one more time for this practice. And notice the effects of your practice. On your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. Take a moment to express deep gratitude to yourself for giving yourself the time, this care, and holding. See if there's anything that you need in this moment, and please do give that to yourself if there is anything. When you're ready, open your eyes. It's been such an honor to lead this. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, there's contact information on the page where this video is posted should you need any further assistance immediately. Take good care.